If you think I'm evil, well, just wait till you meet my variants.
Failure was something Rocky couldn't stand. Whenever one of his inventions didn't work or he got something wrong during a mission, he took it hard. It wasn't that he was a perfectionist. He was okay with messing up on things. That doesn't seem important like a game or a competition. But failing somebody close to him, that was the worst of all. His dislike of failure all seemed back to his days at the orphanage for pets. Every day he would try the hardest to get adopted by a family looking to take a pet home with them, and every day he failed. For a long time, Rocky didn't think he would ever get adopted until one day, when he was cleaning up the orphanage like he always did. He met Ryder. The mixed breed had been collecting trash outside the orphanage to use for his inventions when he saw Ryder checking said inventions in Rocky's room. He explained what each of them did and had fun playing with Ryder. Ryder quickly offered Rocky a place in the Paw Patrol as a recycling pup, as well as a home to live in. That was the happiest day in Rocky's life. Paw Patrol was his new home, and the pups were his new family. And Rocky promised on the day he arrived at the lookout that he will never fail his new family. And yet here I am, looking for a friend who I failed horribly, thought Rocky as he watched Ryder ask Alex and his friends at the playground if they had seen Marshall. The pups have fought before, even argued at times, but they never had something like this happen. Looking back, Rocky couldn't help but realize that the words were way too harsh. Yeah, Marshall's clumsy behavior did mess things up a lot, but he was still a good friend. Besides, everybody on the team had their quirks. Wubba was always trying to act more mature and complete for being the youngest. Zuma had his speech impairment. Sky and Chases absolutely had crutches on each other, but neither could admit it, and Rocky himself was afraid of water. The most he thought about how foolish he and the other pups had been, the more it drove Rocky to find Marshall and apologize. If only I were that easy. They had been driving through town all day. Yeah, there wasn't a single sign of Marshall. They had asked all the residents from Katy to Mel Goodway, but they still hadn't seen him. The mayor promised to get all the townsfolk to look for him, but Rocky was pretty sure Marshall was long gone from Adventure Bay. He wanted to tell Ryder, but he was too nervous to. Throughout the search, Ryder barely said anything to Rocky, and his angry face from earlier was still fresh in the pup's mind. Ryder had been disappointed, scolding even if things would get too rough, but never as angry as he was when he learned that what they had done. It made Rocky feel even guilty about the fact they had failed his owner, the one who had given him his new life. Still, despite his failure arguing Ryder further, finding Marshall was a top priority. When Ryder came back to his ATV, Rocky sat in the recycling truck while rubbing his paws. One of Alex's friends said they saw Marshall's fire truck heading down Church Street. Let's see if any of the chops have seen them. Ryder? Asked Rocky just as the owner put on his helmet. I don't think we'll find him in Adventure Bay. He had hours ahead of us, and considering some of the people we talked to said and saw him heading in the direction to exit to town, I think it's safe to assume he's long gone from this location. Ryder rubbed his chin before nodding. You make a good point. Chase and Sky are in that area, so we'll join up with them. So, Do you think he's heading back to his parents? Where do they live anyway? Asked Walkie. Somewhere down the south of the state. If we don't find them in the evening, I'll load them, said Wido, getting on his ATV. Lowering his head, Walkie asked, Wido, do you hate us for what we did? Wido looked at Walkie with shock before he shook his head and gave a sad smile. Walkie, I could never hate you, pups. You're my best friends. I'm just upset that you said that to Marshall after everything he's done. Why do you say those things anyway? I don't know. I guess we were just angry that his mistakes keep breaking stuff, whispered Walkie. It's not a good excuse, but I know. I bet he hit us. Marshall will never hate you, pups. Don't you remember when he took care of you when you got bullied? Walkie's eyes widened at the memory. Heading back home on the 3 good legs were a pain, but it was better than depending on a bullied, injured one. Walkie winced as he felt the bite mark on his right front leg hurt worse as he walked up to the hill towards the lookout. Each time he or something else touched it, it was stinging like crazy to the point where Walkie was nearly in tears. It wasn't as bad as the china on the left eye, though. As he reached the front lookout, all he needed to do is to get his doghouse and avoid being seen by the other pups. Thankfully, they all focused on Chase testing out his new super spy outfit and gadgets. Walkie was about to sneak away when Marshall noticed him and watched over. Hey, Walkie, want to see Chase use his suction cup boots? Maybe later. I'm just gonna go to bed, said Walkie, doing his best to hide his face being seen. You okay? You seem kind of off. Hey, where's your hat? You were wearing it when you went out earlier, pointing out Marshall. I lost it. Now, if you excuse me, lied Walkie as he tried to move away from Marshall. Marshall gasped. Lost it? Don't worry. We'll use Chase's nose to find it. Before Walkie could do anything, Marshall reached out for his injured leg and jerked. Walkie yelped in pain before falling to his side, whimpering. Walkie, are you okay? Screamed Marshall before he noticed a shine on Walkie's eyes. Whoa! What happened? Help! Whimpered Walkie, unable to take the pain anymore. Right, guys. Right. Guys, Walkie's injured! Shouted Marshall, gaining the attention to the others. They all watched over gaps at the side of him. What happened? Asked Wobble. I swear, I just touched him and he was suddenly in pain, answered Marshall. It looks like he got beat up, shouted Sky. Chase tagged his dog tag and shouted to it. Wido, sir, we got an injured paw patroller. Who needs help? It's Walkie. On my way, Chase. Keep him still until I get here. Chase walked over to put a paw on Walkie's shoulder. It's okay. Wido's coming. Walkie nodded as he hoped his owner could fix this. Feeling better, Walkie? Asked Zuma as the game watched Wido Finch wrapping up his leg in the medical room. Beside the leg brace, Walkie had an ice pack over his hurt eye that hurt with his good paw. Yeah, much better, replied the injured pup. Wido rubbed Walkie on his back and asked, Walkie, how did you get injured? I took a closer look at the wound and it was definitely from a bite. A dog bite, suspictfully. You mean someone attacked Walkie? Asked Sky before growling. What kind of a jerk would do that? Walkie whimpered, but Wido held him in the arms and began to pet him. It's okay, Walkie. You can tell us. Walkie hesitated but sighed, knowing that they wasn't going to drop this and decided to come out and say it. It was Birch, Crash, and Shaper. They ambushed me, called me a nerd, and beat me up, and took my hat. Those three, I should have known, growled Chase, who looked ready to tear something apart with his teeth. Who are they? Asked Wido. They're the three dogs that live in Junkyard near town. They're always causing trouble, like stealing food, knocking over trash cans, or bullying dogs smaller than them, answered Wubble. Yeah, they made one of my speech all the time, said Zuma, lowering his head. They say I talk like this because I'm wasted. They what? Shouted Chase and Wido. Okay, I had enough of those three. We have to do something to them. We have to do something to them, Wido, sir. Shouted Chase. Wido gently put Walkie on the medical bed and nodded. Right, those three want to keep hurting our friends. I say we teach them a lesson and give Walkie's hat back. Am I right? The pups all howled with repetition as Wubble jumped up and said, I know where these creeps hang out, and I can use my sniffer to sniff them out, said Chase as he followed Wubble out of the room. Wait for us! I gotta see this! Shouted Sky, followed by Zuma. Wido was about to follow when he noticed that Marshall wasn't moving. Marshall? You're coming along? The Dalmatian glanced at Walkie, who was nursing his eyes, before turning to Wido with a smile. You go on ahead, Wido. I'm going to watch over Walkie. Okay, be back soon as we can, said Wido before exiting. Marshall barked goodbye before jumping onto the bed and taking a seat next to Walkie. Are you feeling better? Not as bad as I did before, but better, thanks, muttered Walkie. There was a long silence between the two as neither said anything to the other. Walkie wished he was just alone so he could do something, but without his good leg or his eye, he was limited. Worst of all, I can't read or vent. This stinks. Why did you try to hide your injuries? And the fact you were being bullied by those jerk dogs? Asked Marshall. Walkie closed his eyes and shook his head. It's not the first time I've been bullied. Back at the orphanage, I read a lot and it was very smart. But the other pups made fun of me and being smarter than them. So they used to make fun of me or hit me. Not as bad as this, though. Walkie sighed as he thought back of the place in New Orleans' life. It was bad memories as he didn't like thinking about them. That wasn't nice of them, said Marshall, pouring upon Walkie's shoulder. But you're not at the orphanage anymore. You're here in Paw Patrol with the rest of us, and we always look at each other. Right? Right, muttered Walkie, blushing. Hey, Marshall, not that I don't appreciate, but why do you ask to stay behind? I thought you can use company. Besides, I did hurt you after all, said Marshall as he hopped off and wagged his tail. Do you want to do anything? Eat? Play a game? Walkie chuckled. I think I'm limited in what I can do, Marshall. He gentled wave his whole leg and raised his eye pack for his eye to bet to show. I'll tell if I can't even read. Thought Marshall as he scratched his ears. He then gasped. What if I read to you? That way you can still enjoy the story. Walkie was a bit taken back, but smiled with joy. You really do that for me? Thanks. What are friends for? Now what book do you want? Asked Marshall. And thus the 4 musketeers held their swords over their heads and shouted, "All for one and one for all." The end. Read Marshall as he closed the book. Walkie barked his approval at Marshall's reading. The fire pup had played each role the best as he could, even during a few mention of the sword fights. If anything made the story even more interesting hearing it read to him, it was an experience he hadn't felt since the caretaker of the orphanage first read him as a pup. It was one of the few good things it was found of all that time, and that it was a caretaker who inspired the love of reading. That was a cool story. I really liked the Entagon. He was so brave, said Marshall, who jumped around. Hey, maybe we should dress up like musketeers. You, me, Chase, and Wubble could be the 4 heroes. What about Zuma and Sky? Asked Walkie in some of the idea. Well, I'm sure Zuma won't mind being Witchfort or Counter Wegnon, and we can have Sky be Medley D. Winter, suggests Marshall. You do realize Sky will beat your ears off when she learns you want to make her a villain, chuckled Walkie. Well, that has only proved my point, laughed Marshall. The 2 pups continued to laugh until they heard the others arrive home when they greeted by them when they entered the medical room. We're back, and mission accomplished, said Chase with a satisfied smirk. Walkie galloped upon seeing Wido catching his hat and cheered and went and placed it back on his head. Thanks, guys. What happened to the bullies? They've been tied up they've been tied up for our necks for a while. Good thing I have plenty of extras, said Chase with a snicker. Yeah, those things were begging and crying for us to let them down, and we left them, laughed Sky. I already called Mel Goodway about them, and she said they would be sent to the pound for their actions, explained Wido. Maybe a few months they will straighten them out. Good riddance is what I say, said Zuma, laughing until his stomach started growling. Can we have lunch, Wido? Sure, come on, pup, said Wido as he turned to Walkie. I still need you here to rest here for a few days, Walkie. I'll bring you dinner for you. Okay, said Walkie as he watched the other pups head out. He then cried out, Hey, Marshall. When the pup turned around, Walkie smiled and said, Thanks for being a good friend. No problem, said Marshall before he turned around and accidentally bumped into the wall. Ow! I'm okay. Immediately after the memory ended, Walkie burst into tears and jumped into Wido's arms, where his owner hugged him. I totally forgot. How could I? Walkie buried his head into Wido's chest, whimpering. I'm horrible. Walkie, it's okay. You made a mistake. I'll promise we'll find Marshall and we'll be back together as a family, assured Wido. Walkie sniffed and nodded. Okay. You know the reason he asked you to be trained as our medical pup? Said Wido, smiling as Walkie looked up at him with surprise written on his face. He said he didn't want to see you or his other friends get hurt, so he worked extra hard to help you guys if you get injured. I never knew, whispered Walkie, shaking his head. But that's Marshall for you, always wanting to help someone. I was warned. We were all warned. Marshall's our heart as a family. He's not dope or annoyance or claws. He's our friend. And so many of us depend on him. Thought Walkie, wishing he could just see Marshall tripping and crouching into something, and if he can just get the guilt off his chest. Guys, Zuma here. There's a big storm heading towards Adventure Bay. It looks really bad, said Zuma from the Paw pad. Wido answered the call and forward towards all the Paw Patrol members. Thanks, Zuma. Everyone, we have to be careful. If the storm gets too big, we'll be in just as much danger as Marshall might be. Zuma, head back to the shore and meet up with Bubble to check the rest of the nearby outskirts. Waki and I will try to meet up with Chase and Sky. Right, sir. We should also call Everest and Jake, just in case he's heading up to the mountain, suggests Chase. Great idea, Chase. Over and out, said Wido as he turned his pup hat to Everest's tag and pressed it. Everest appeared on the screen with Jake right beside her. Hey, Wido, what do you need? Asked Everest with a cheerful smile. Everest, we have a big problem. Marshall went away and we cannot find him, said Wido. Both Everest and Jake gasped. Dude, that's terrible. Why did he went away? It's a long story, but we need your help finding him. Can you check your mountain if he's there or on his way? Asked Wido. We do our best, Wido. We'll do our best, but Wido? Everest started looking nervous. There's a big snowstorm coming, and that combined with the thunderstorm coming from your end, it's going to make it very hard to find Marshall. Waki and Wido both looked at each other with grim expressions on their faces. Waki decided to answer this time and said, Please help us, Everest. It's me and the other pup's fault that this happened. We want our friend back. We do our best. Over and out, cried Everest before they called out. Think we'll find Marshall before the storm starts? Asked Waki. Hope so, Waki, said Wido as he looked towards the coming storm.